were on a short list of actors that Tyler wanted for this role of Winnie. Did you know that heading into this project? And what was it about this script and character that resonated with you?
Yeah, I honestly I didn't. I did get an email saying like, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" Not like a formal audition. It was just kind of like, "Hey, we're going to send you the script and see if you're interested in it," which had never happened to me before. So that was immediately very cool for me. And then I'm a huge fan of Michael Kennedy, loved Freaky. So just seeing that it was written by him, first of all, I was like, okay. And then as soon as I started reading the script, the first description that we get of Winnie, it says, teenage girl, all that other stuff, but it also says that she has an air of loneliness.
Mm,
And so I kind of took that and ran because, you know, at least for me, part of my experience is in high school and middle school. I was part of like the popular kids, and I was part of like all like the theater kids and the jocks and everybody, and I kind of was in all these different social circles, but I never felt like I was truly like in one of these social circles. I kind of just drifted, and I feel like a lot of queer people can relate to that, to like not
mm.
knowing what their identity is, especially that young, and just kind of drifting. And so I really appreciated that that was part of her description. And, I really related to that. So I took what I'd experienced and kind of
Mm.
put that onto Winnie.
Great answer. Also perfect segue to this next question. But Tyler's been really complimentary about the fact that you helped shape this character. You're one of the top choices for this role. What was that process like getting to work with him to take Winnie that you saw on the page and make her your own?
Yeah. So the interesting thing that I love about Tyler is he would much rather just have a conversation with an actor as opposed to see a scene play out in front of him.
Mm,
And so I sent in an audition just first, and then he wanted to have just a meeting over Zoom. And so it was really cool to, just talk to this person and be able to pick their brain about the project. And not even before I'd even booked it, but I just love the project so much. For the audition, I wrote out an entire timeline on my iPad. And, I was on a flight at the time, and I'm sure the person next to me was like, that's a little crazy. It's a little extreme, but okay. I fell in love with it, and just seeing how Tyler has such a brilliant mind. I mean, you've spoken to him. There's about a million things going on at once, and it's so cool to be able to see his process, see the way that he works, and be able to pick his brain and be like, hey, do you think that this choice works? Or like, do you think that
mm,
this choice works? And how would you go, how are we going to film this? Like, how do I need to know, what do I need to know going into this? And then we also had I had a session with Jess and Tyler before, and so that also really helped kind of dictate where we wanted to take that relationship. um but yeah, I mean, Taylor Tyler is just so collaborative, and same with Michael, and I really loved that, and that they were able to be really receptive to my questions and make sure if I had an idea that I wanted to put in, they would work their very best to try to do that.
great answer. Winnie's haunted by the events that happened a year ago. She's dealing with a lot of grief in her life, which you brought so much nuance to. As an actor, how did you create the space for yourself to dive into that vulnerability that ultimately turns into strength throughout the film?
Yeah, I mean, you know you just kind of have to go where you don't want to go. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's like, oh, I actually did need to look at that, and I needed to be able to process that. And that's what I love about my job is sometimes I
Mm,
will process things at work that I'm like, whoa, I didn't even realize that I was processing that, and look, it happened. But I think going with doing these kind of up and down emotions, I love it, and I love doing the dark and twisty stuff. And I just love that as an actor, I'm able to do that. Like there's some days at work where you want to cry at work, but you can't because you're at work.
mm.
I get to do that work. So that's cool. Uh, but yeah, it's really fun to be able to go into the dark and moody headspace at times. I mean, I have playlists that I set up, and I'm a huge like psychological thriller horror fan. So it's just kind of, for some reason, it's easy for me to get into that headspace.
You're fantastic. And your character realizes the impact that she's had around the people in her life. Who were the people in your own life who have shaped the storyteller that you are today?
Yeah, definitely my parents, and my best friend. And I think the one big one is my older sister, And so I really used that in terms of my Jimmy, my, played by Aiden. But
Yeah.
yeah, so whenever, that scene where I figure out that, Jimmy is not here anymore, that I really, during that scene, I just thought about my sister, because that would just be like the hardest thing, is if I had to lose my older sister. So I was able to use that, and it's like sad that you get to like use this person. Like, I'm grateful for you, but I'm also sad that I have to think of you in this way. But yeah, having a support system kind of similar to what Winnie does really, or to what Winnie has, really helped me in terms of
Mm.
this role.
You're saying earlier, the chemistry between you and Jess is imperative when bringing the dynamic between Winnie and Bernie to life. How were the two of you able to build that bond?
Honestly, it was kind of just there from day one. We didn't expect it to go from, or to be anything. In the script, it wasn't written, it was just written as a friendship, it wasn't written as
Mm.
anything. And so, but as soon as we had that first director session with Tyler and we started doing the scenes, we realized, oh my gosh, we have a lot of chemistry in the scene. And it's funny because Jess and Jane don't have chemistry, but Winnie and Bernie have a lot of chemistry. It's just one of those movie magic weird things. And so I think after that first director session, we both were kind of thinking about it in our heads, and like, we don't want to queer bait. Like, we want to be able to
Hmm.
do, we want to be able to show a really authentic version of what we have lived through too, like our personal experiences. And then we brought it up to Michael and we brought it up to Tyler, and they were fully on board. They were like, yeah, how can we make it gayer? Let's go. And so that was really fun to be able to do that and kind of develop this little love story in the
Hmm.
center of it that I can't even imagine it not being there now,
Yeah.
so that was really, really cool. And Jess is fantastic, and I love doing scenes with them. They're such a great scene partner, and I think that's also where the chemistry comes from, is being able to have a really great scene partner, which you never know.
Hmm.
It just depends on like personalities and
Yeah.
everything. And once you have that, you are able to find a chemistry that is just there, which I love.
Also share on social media how special this project has been for you. When you look back, what will you remember most? And do you have a favorite behind the scenes moment?
When I look back at this, I'll probably remember how accepted I felt as a queer person. I think that that
Mm.
was such a beautiful and great thing. Every actor had their pronouns listed, the characters had their pronouns listed on the call sheet every day. We also had a thing attached to the call sheet about pronoun etiquette, how to like speak to somebody, what to say. And that, I've never had that before. And that was just incredible. And that's our production team. Just amazing. Behind the scenes moment. Oh my God, I don't know. There probably when we were, how I light the angel on fire, or like
Yeah.
when
Okay.
jumper cable,
Yeah.
him, I don't know. So we were supposed to have like practical effects, like there would be sparks that would fly, but actually in the shot, like we weren't going to put them in post. The last scene of the day, like almost like one of the last days that we're filming, and I go to like do it, and they're like, okay, sparks are gonna go off. Nothing, no sparks. They're like, okay, we're just gonna reset it, re-rig it. Keep in mind, like, it's rigged like in my arms, like all the way through my jacket. I have like a button that I have to push, like as I'm
Mm.
doing this thing, and then the sparks like actually come out from underneath my arms. Crazy. Do it again. Nothing. Not one single thing. And I think we did it maybe one more time, and then like nothing. So you're like, okay, I'm just gonna give up on this. We'll just put it in a post. Just like,
Mm.
good call, guys. Good call. But that's just like, you never know what's gonna happen on set with special effects, and that was one of those things,
Yeah.
And it's just, you just have to laugh it off, because what else are you gonna do?
The beauty of filmmaking. I got one final question for you. I think what's so brilliant about this project is it plays to all these different genres. It's a slasher film with a lot of heart and humor. When it comes out, is there a scene in particular that you're really excited for audiences to see? What do you hope they take away?
I mean, I hope that they take away the fact that this film really, it helps you see what it would be like to walk in another person's shoes.
Mm.
And I love that about the film. Um, Favorite scene. Probably the theater scene when we're watching the film, just because it's so cute and there's so much like
Very sweet. Yeah.
little, yeah, you can see the sparks flying. I also just love that scene because actually went I've seen the film a few times in theaters, and I went and I saw it with my girlfriend this past time, and during that scene she's like, you're sitting in a theater right now, but you're so it's very like
Mm,
meta for her, and I just
yeah.
find that really funny that now if I like sit in a theater watching that scene, it is so meta. I didn't even like think about that, but yeah, I just kind of like how meta it is.
It's also so special to watch a movie that you've
Yeah,
made on the screen. Thank you so much
exactly.
for taking time out of your day to chat with us.
Yeah,
Congratulations on this film. It's one of my favorites of the year. I'm such a huge fan of this genre. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your press day.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.